Yo, 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 it's your boy Uncle Pre with another episode of the Unfiltered podcast. In the studio again, come back to the different lightings. I was in another one before last year. I thought, let me just try that room out, but this one always feels like home. And I've got someone who's travelled long and far to be here. I'm joking, he's here on a vacation / work trip, but
Committed to the cause.
That's it. Navin has come through. Big thank you for coming through, bro. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
I know
really appreciate it.
Just a spoiler, he's feeling a little bit under the weather, so if you see him grab a couple of Strepsils or something to get through, look, it's got to be done, you know. Yeah. Safety and health are always first on our priority.
Hopefully no coughing.
Bro, no, big thank you for coming through. I've written a few things down here in regards to like what you do exactly, but I think it's probably better it coming out of your mouth. Like, what is it that you do? And yeah, just introduce yourself to everyone, really.
Yeah, sure. So what I do is I run a charity for young people based out in Gibraltar. I set that up. Actually, it's our 6th birthday tomorrow.
Swear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And super excited for that. I also run a consultancy business based out of Gibraltar, but we have clients in lots of different countries. In addition to that, I'm a psychotherapist and a coach as well.
Jeez.
But I'd say more than what I do, who I am is someone who is committed to, I guess, learning, evolving, growing, and just being kind to the ones around me. I feel like there's so much hardships and so many struggles that everyone is going through.
Yeah.
If there's anything I can be, just be kind.
Well.
And I feel like who I am is more of a priority than what I do. I feel like what I do is as a result of who I am.
So, just for context, peeps.
Just went in there. No context whatsoever.
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
He's travelled long and far from Gibraltar. So, yeah, damn. And you mentioned like you've got a charity out there. Charity is called Cyecyl.
Yes. So
Stands for
change your energy, change your life.
There we go.
So it's aimed at.
Sorry, we'll cut some of them out. Don't
This will be good for your bloopers. So Cyecyl is an acronym for change your energy, change your life.
Yep.
It's aimed at 12 to 25-year-olds at the moment. And what we're doing is to help alleviate young people from any negative self-perceptions, any low self-esteem, any self-doubt, to help them live with a lot more confidence, drive, and ambition. So the way we do that is in a multitude of ways. For the younger group, we have summer camps, and we split it into 3 weeks. So the first week is the outdoor challenge, the second week is the innovation challenge, which is about entrepreneurship, and the third week is the community challenge, which is about volunteering. But within the whole project, what we make sure is that they are tapping into what is it that gives them that tick to want to wake up in the morning and say, yes, my life is meaningful, it's purposeful. And we do that through something called the Feel Good Space. So every day we have 45 minutes at least dedicated to what it is that's going on in their hearts and in their minds, because what we found is even 12-year-olds are going through something significant today. And if we are just able to hold space for them to truly articulate that which is in their hearts and their minds, we need to sugarcoat it in a way that they'll want to engage first with all the fun stuff, but then come in and feel safe enough to say, this is what I'm going through and this is what I need help with. Then with the older group, we've got a partnership with the government in Gibraltar where we do something called the Innovation Hub. And that's where we facilitate all activities outside of education. So education beyond academics, something as simple as CV writing, interview skills, goal setting, managing resilience, celebrating your individuality, and just helping you identify that your potential is not solely based on your academic achievements. It's really based on who you want to become as a human being.
Yeah.
And that is what we're committed to.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and then the older cohort, we take them to volunteer abroad. So this year, we're going back to Ghana, and we're currently speaking to organizations in India as well. And the whole purpose is not this whole white, or in our case, brown savior kind of attitude of going to a foreign country and saying, we're going to help save the day, but actually a cultural exchange where you can teach me your values, your way of living, your understanding of what it means to live a good quality of life, and then us learning it, coming from the West and saying, what can we adopt, as much as we are going to be supporting you, whether it's to build educational facilities or teaching or whatever it is. It really is an immersive experience for an exchange, not just us coming to save the day, quote unquote. So that's something that's really important for the people back home in Gibraltar, because they use that and it helps influence how they want to live their lives moving forward
Yeah.
after that experience. So that's a charity in a nutshell.
Mate, now that's hella inspiring, because part of my journey was to do something similar to what your charity possibly does right now. When I left work, I've told the audience a number of times, I left work to like go and do charity work abroad.
Yeah.
So my dad's originally born from Kenya, came here at a very, very young age. So
Okay.
for me, never been there before, but I'd love to have gone back to maybe do some work with like, say, schools or some sort of like, if not teaching, it
Yeah.
would have been some sort of like help building schools or stuff for communities in the area. And I'm a big like animal geek. Like I love like
Are
David
you?
Attenborough and stuff like that. So I've always, I would have loved to have done something like that. COVID came and I couldn't. So just hearing that you're
Yeah.
doing that right now is like quite amazing, because I feel like in this country right now, I'm trying to think of what is that bridge in going from feeling possibly a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
From a young age, you mentioned at 12, people are feeling certain things, all the way through, let's say, secondary school, going through university, and then coming out on the back end of it, not knowing what you want to do next, and still having these thoughts playing in your head. And you're offering, I would say, like what, charitable services to possibly help these individuals out. That's nuts.
And you know what? It's us just holding space for these young people to discover that which is in their hearts.
Yeah.
Like, we are not there to tell them what it is they need to do. We are there to hold space for them to discover that which is in their hearts, what feels true to them, what feels real for them. Because I think there's so much information now that's just being hoarded onto us. How can I really sift through all the noise and say, let me tap into that which feels real and authentic to me? And this is where we are supporting them to discover that. And I love that you shared that you've got this interest as well. And mate, we need to collaborate at some point in the future, because even when we spoke earlier, I felt in your heart, like you have this real desire to serve, and this is what you do. Even just creating this platform for all of us to speak what's in our hearts and in our voice. So you're already doing it.
That's what I was going to say. It feels like what I'm doing right now with this podcast, as an example, is
100%
in somewhat synchronized in regards to what you do in Gibraltar. And like, I think the overall concept and the fact that you've managed to establish something right now, you said 6 years, that's nuts. And like, kudos to you, bro, because like, I feel in my ideal world, it'd be nice to have more like-minded people like yourself going out there, looking at it from one angle that, okay, cool, there's a problem, there's a challenge, rather than leaving these people in these situations. What kind of advice could I assist? And the way I always look at it is, and this is why the podcast is built and the coaching is built, it's built on one of the principles that I wish I had some of that when I was growing up. And the fact that like you're doing that right now, like it's gonna serve its way later down.
Thank you.
For all of these youngsters and older professionals as they
blossom through. It's really kind of you to say. I think I had this conversation with one of our sponsors, and she's the managing partner of EY back home, and she told me, Navin, don't be less concerned with world domination and be more concerned with your drop in the ocean, which is going to change the hearts of those who are seeking to benefit from that which you are providing. And for me, it really resonated, because for me, what's so important is quality. Like, we can get inspired by saying, oh, we've served hundreds of thousands of people here and there, and it's great. Like, that's also magnificent. But if I'm even able to inspire one young person to say, the life I want to lead is that which is going to be sincere and true to my heart, that is what makes it worth it for me. So I'm less about wanting world domination, so to speak, and more about wanting to just touch the hearts of those who come into interaction with us. And the number is less important. It's more about the quality of service that we're providing. Because I feel now everyone wants to be famous, everyone wants to be recognized, everyone wants legacy. And I've really been reflecting on, is legacy that important to me? And it actually isn't, because I don't want to be remembered as Nav, this wonderful guy who did all of these great things. In fact, if you're going to remember me, just remember me for being kind. Because the work is going to go beyond me. It would be very arrogant of me to say that the charity runs because of me.
Yeah.
There's a team of people who are extremely good at what they do. They continue facilitating all the activities. And even when I leave this body, the charity will find a way to be successful. So I've realized that legacy is less about me wanting to make my mark in the world. But what am I doing whilst I'm living here? And am I imparting the values that I wish to teach to other people? Yeah, it's something that I've really been reflecting on when it comes to this aspect of legacy. And I want to be remembered for this. To be honest, people may remember you for a few moments, but then each one is going to get on with their life.
Yeah.
So be more concerned of what I'm doing here in the here and now today, and do it without negative repercussions on the people that you care for, that are relying on you, and that want you to have a certain kind of experience when they're coming into interaction with you. I think that for me now is a priority.
Hey, that's dropping gems right now. Honestly.
Thank you, bro.
I love it because it's like if I spin it in regards to, let's say, the world of social media and influencers and that kind of like, it's what kind of impact can I leave and how will I be remembered by? And I'm kind of like similar to you, where the Unfiltered podcast. Look, I won't lie to you. It'd be great for it to be successful to a degree where it's seen all around the world. That doesn't mean it has to do the millions of views that some of these other podcasts do. I'm not saying I wouldn't say no to it.
Yeah.
But it's more of the impact it leaves behind. I've had guests who have come on, reach back out to me and say, Pri, you won't understand this. Do you need a cough? Go on.
I love it. Bro, you're a legend.
No,
you should smile more, bro. You got a great smile. You need to smile more.
Oh dear. Thanks. What was I saying? Yeah, I've had guests come through on the podcast and have said to me, once it's been released, Bree, just want to let you know that on the back end of that episode, I've had people come through and want to speak to me. I've had people want to work with me. I've signed clients on the back end of it, and it's nuts. My podcast isn't huge at all. It gets hundreds of views, if that. And when I say hundreds, I'm talking
I've
about
seen thousands, bro. I've seen your profile.
On Instagram. It's different because obviously the reels are more short form. Who's actually looking at the YouTube video, and that's what all the time goes into editing that, right? But the fact that people are still, the odd people that are watching it are resonating it with the content, are then reaching out to the individual who's been interviewed on the show and then wanting to work with them to improve themselves or to learn things about themselves. Like it's more about, like you said, the impact it leaves versus what it like. It'd be great to have millions of views on it.
Of course it would. Who wouldn't? It would be silly of us to think it wouldn't, right?
But if what if what I'm doing right now is generating impact where the guest is obtaining a reward where they can still help and serve people, I'm winning.
Yeah, 100%.
So no, I'm with you.
And the great thing is that even with the people that are viewing it, they are loyal to you.
Yeah.
And the work that you provide, because irrespective of the number of podcasters that are out there in the world, there's only one you.
Yeah.
Okay. And even if the content may seem similar or familiar, whether you're Jay Shetty, Stephen Bartlett, the King of England, it doesn't matter. There's only one you. And whoever wants to listen to you will commit to that. And may they long continue to be committed to what it is you're able to do. Because if you love what you're doing, the aftermath of someone responding to that shows that it's worth continuing for.
100%.
100%. Whether it's 100 or 200 people, that's still, if we think in terms of people's terms, that's still like, imagine 200 people in a room.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to be listening to you. So if I'm at a speaking event and there's 200 people listening to me, that's a big group of people. But somehow that value is diminished when we refer to it digitally.
Yeah.
Why? That's still magnificent.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like Jay mentioned it in a number of his like beginning things that he used to speak to an empty room. No one would come when he was at university, and then more and more people started coming along, 5, 10, and he still kept that same energy. And then before you knew it, later down the line,
look where he is today.
Look where he is right now. And it's the power of perseverance 100%. Being one thing, but also believing in your craft and knowing like the true intentions to what you're doing.
Totally.
And
that will come through. If I want to be recognized for what I do, and I do that over the love of what I'm doing, it will come through. If I'm doing something to get the validation by the millions of people that are watching me, that will come through in how I speak. If I'm doing it because it's genuinely out of love and sincerity, that will also come through in a different way, because the intention is different. 100%. Intention is everything.
100%.
Isn't it?
So this is another interesting, like, I find it quite warming when people reach out to me and say, yo, Pri, I'd love to come on your podcast and speak about X, Y, and Z and see if it can help.
A true testament to your work as well.
It is. And it's like, so I have to be selective sometimes now in regards to, I don't want this to be like, say, I'm not a therapist, but like a therapy session or a coaching session. I generally want it to try and add value for the person listening in. But it's nice having that now, knowing that, like, I've got someone who's got a lot more of a following than me, but wants to come on my show and has liked the conversation I've had and thinks that it will add value to a wider audience. Great. Absolutely. Let's run it.
Kudos to you. And may it long continue.
Oh, mate, that's the plan. That's the plan. So that's what Cyecyl is all about.
Yeah.
And then you are the CEO of your own consultancy firm as well. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, like, what was your journey in your career? Because I feel something that my generation may be struggling with. When I say mine, I mean our generation.
I'm ancient.
No, he's not. Our generation struggle with is that having to follow a certain career path to get to certain, let's say, hierarchy positions in a company, or whatever profession you do. It can be like quite demoralizing when you see other people doing other things. And I feel like what you've done right now, you're the CEO of your own consultancy. Now, I don't know how many people work for you. I don't know how many clients you have. But the fact that you have that label, for someone listening to this right now might be like, damn, how has he done that? Yo, I'd love to like get into that. Like, what skills has he built up? What is his background? And is it similar to mine? So by all means, like.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when I was 15 years old and my grandfather looking at me square in the eyes saying, become doctor, very good. And I'm like, Dada, this is the last thing I want to become. In passionate Spanish, it sounds even more angrier. And I realized that I've always struggled with understanding my why.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, because I always felt slightly disconnected from the world around me. And when I say that, it's because I fell in love with spirituality and God at a very early age. And my friends would be like, what is wrong with you? So amidst that confusion, it kind of reflected a bit in my career, whereby in my early 20s to up until when I was 30, I think I switched jobs every year. So I was very promiscuous with my career. I wasn't loyal to anyone or anything. I started off in, I think it was medical recruitment. Then I went to conference production. Then I went into trying to attract foreign investors and developers into India for B2B real estate. That was incredible. Like, I really learned from, some of the wealthiest people in the country. So that was amazing. Then I went into working in social impact. So I had about 6 or 7 different jobs from when I graduated. And then I lived in Peru for a year, volunteering out there. So I went from corporate to philanthropic and everything else in between in my 20s, just because I had no idea what I wanted to do with myself. But somewhere, somehow in my heart, I knew that this experience was going to be of value. And it was when I took a year off work when I was 30, and set up the charity, that I realized every single place where I've worked has given me full permission to now set up my own charity, and then shortly after my own business. Because then I knew what I needed to do to set it up. I knew what I needed to do to create a new business, because I was good at sales. I knew what I needed to do to build relationships. I knew what I needed to do to get the work done. And that was because of not knowing who I was. So what I would say is that if you are in a period of uncertainty or not sure who you are, even in your 20s, be very okay with it, because there is a silver lining in a learning opportunity. And as patronizing and as frustrating that may sound to someone who's in it right now and would be like, what do you know, Nav? Like, I promise you, there is a silver lining, because if you can take away 2 or 3 learnings from that job, it will serve you for whatever it is you want to do later on down the line. Oh, and I would say, like, I've been a late bloomer professionally, just because of that level of uncertainty.
That's the scary part, though, right?
It
That
is.
mindset.
It is 100%, especially when you are around people who are extremely successful, already financially making a lot of money, living a lifestyle that I wasn't able to because I had to keep starting from scratch. And it's only more recently that I've been able to sustain a life where I am happy, I am content, I'm financially stable, and I can actually say that I'm doing well for myself. But that only came with a lot of years of uncertainty. So spiritually, I was evolving and becoming a lot more certain of who I was. But professionally, all I wanted to do was actually dedicate myself to service. How can you monetize service? So that was always my struggle. And people around me would say, well, you're so spiritual, you will never be able to be a millionaire. Like, it just doesn't go. And I believed it. I did not know that you could marry the two together.
Yeah.
And Leah, who's my partner, who's been on this program, she has said the same thing. And I
was
think
just gonna
that
say-
is actually what aligns us together.
Yeah.
Because I struggled when I was living that modern day monk life to then being a working professional and saying, well, is it a vice to be wealthy? And now, like, you know, for the first time, I can very comfortably say I can still hold my values, be true to who I am, and use the vibration of money for good, whether it's for looking after myself, my family, and also for service. Like, it would all become hand in hand. Money is just an energy. We choose how to channel it, and the choice is ours.
I love how you've put that, because when I try and like how you said, it's an energy. Because when I did a little bit of traveling when I was working in audit. I went to Vietnam, did a little trip, 2-week trip, and like I think I
Nice.
mentioned it before. We went through like one of the villages and stuff, and these kids that were there, the parents that were there, they obviously have tourists come through all the time. Smiles on their faces, no worries about what's going on in the Western world. They're just getting on with their life. They go to school there, etc., etc. And it's a case of like that sense of happiness right there. That the money might be an energy to some people, but they get different forms of energy in regards to the fulfillment and the life that they're able to then subsequently live on the back end of it. And it was just very warming to see that, because I think that was a light bulb moment for me to realize that it's great working and in the city. It's great having the ability to say I study towards being a chartered accountant and I got my qualification. It's great saying all of that. But on the back end of it, if I can find a level of happiness by going to Kenya and working in a lion conservation place, working with wildlife, and the fulfillment I obtain from that
100%.
skyrockets all the wealth I'd make here, that energy just overlaps it.
Totally.
So
And your motivation coming back would just be through the roof, even when you come home. I love what you shared. I remember when I was in Peru for a year, there was someone who said, we are extremely selfish for what we are doing. And we all looked at her and we wondered, what does she mean? And she said, because it makes every single one of us feel so fulfilled. But the result of that is the service that we're giving back to this entire community that have no homes. So may we keep being selfish and fueling our soul, because the benefit that has to the community around us is humongous.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of what you shared, because by you going to this Lions conservation center to be able to do the volunteering work that will fuel your spirit, you will ultimately show up as a better as a result of it, whether it's with family, friends, and whoever it is. And it sounds like it's something that inspires you.
Oh, 100%. I went Thailand last year. I wanted to use this elephant sanctuary stuff, and I'm not a fan of like the animal cruelty towards like all of that shit. So I got told that this sanctuary that I was going to go to is one of the ones where they've got like orphaned elephants, and they've been captured to now be, well, they were captured before, treated in the wrong way. Anyway. And the concept of like bathing the elephants, feeding the elephants, and like it's what they're trying to do is obviously it's a charity and it's a business as well, because they make money, etc. But in regards to all of the other possible elephants that are still being captured and enslaved for tourist reasons, etc., they're trying to obviously break that, right? I was so that feeling being there was just so uplifting. It was weird. It was just like, I've got this massive creature in front of me right now, and I'm just talking to it. Just, it understand me, but I'm just generally just look into the eyes of this elephant. And it just felt so nice. And like before I left, I was like, look, I don't need a vest. I'm never going to wear it, but I'm going to buy it right now because I want to just invest in whatever you're going to do right now. If I share this on social media that I've been here and people then come around and it helps your cause, great, cool. So I'm all for like the long lasting impacts in regards into what you'll do for
You've got a big heart. You've got a big heart. Because I feel like you whenever you speak, it feels like your eyes light up when it's about being able to serve.
Yeah. It's
so, whether it's animals, people,
yeah,
communities, you always seem to light up when you talk about service.
I feel like, I know it's not about me, but I feel
it's about both.
You know, because Leah did this to me as well. She needs to carry on talking. When it comes to like what you're saying out there, service, I don't want to have a younger version of me right now go through life thinking that I can't venture out and do things I want to do. The reason why I like helping people, truly is based on the fact that like I think I see the world in a way where it doesn't have to be set in stone that you need to follow certain paths.
100%.
Your path and your journey is going to be very different, and the quicker you realize that in life, you will be well better equipped for the challenges that will then come on the back end of it. If you're not happy right now, i.e. in your relationship, you don't have to stay in it. Because what's going to be trickier for you later down the line is when possibly you have kids with this partner that you're no longer happy with.
Yeah.
And what happens then, the skills that you show your children, if you don't get divorced, if you don't separate, like it can leave not a nice impact, I suppose. So what I'm trying to get is that the reason why I like, I went off tangent there badly. The reason why I like serving is generally to try and help.
What
people.
You were saying there was, you were talking about authenticity.
Yeah. I want people right now to be in a position in life, and it's possibly my own personal goal, to not feel that they need to just follow what everyone else tells you to do. Just because your culture makes it seem like divorce is a bad thing. I'm sorry, if you're not happy, your life comes around once. You know, best believe that you have an opportunity right now to still be happy and pass on that happiness to other people.
Totally.
That's a relationship perspective, career perspective. If you want to do what you've done right now and go travel between your 20s and your 30s, different companies, spend a year abroad away, go do that if it's going to give you the tools, or it might not even give you the tools, but it'll give you a sense of satisfaction that you didn't waste that opportunity when it arose. Hence why I'm choosing for the next 3 months to go travel around Asia and go see a couple of countries that I weren't able to see during the COVID period. But it's a case of, I've always said to myself, I could coach abroad. I could be sat on a beach having a coaching session.
Totally.
There's no reason why I can't do that. There's no reason why I can't work with people out there. I won't know until I put myself out there for it.
Yeah.
So now I've got that opportunity coming up. I'm going to milk. I'm going to milk every moment of it and just see what happens. But
Totally. And I love what you're sharing, because it feels really in synergy with what I've been referring to. And look, we all need to eat. We all need a roof over our heads. We all need to breathe. And we all need some kind of basic clothing. So, of course, when I'm in the period of discovery, if money is my motivator, go ahead and do it. Like, I'm not here saying that if money is a huge motivator not to be successful, because I'm motivated by money too.
Yeah.
But it's about being comfortable and just having conviction about who you are as a person and as a human being. If you are a philanthropic individual, which I definitely am, and I love charity and I love to serve, I did it wholeheartedly. But what Indian man in their 20s can say, I want to dedicate myself to charity? They'll be like, this guy, go become a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean? So for me, I have come to terms with being comfortable with both, where I actually want to look after myself and do well for myself financially, and serving, like putting the oxygen mask over my head before someone else, like filling my own cup before I fill somebody else's. That is not selfish. That is just what I need in order to be able to do what I want at a bigger scale. I have to look after myself, and I denied myself that in the past because I was so distracted on serving other people that I'm easily able to take away from what do I really need.
Yeah, I feel like, and I was telling Leah this as well, like so many people do that. We people please.
Yeah.
But if you can start people pleasing from a position where you're putting yourself first,
yeah,
and you're doing it because it truly fulfills you,
100%.
it's a different ballgame completely, because it
100%.
doesn't matter in regards to the results.
Yeah.
So like when you talked about like that
Yeah.
financial, some people are motivated by money and the financial rewards, right? Some people might generally be satisfied and fulfilled with earning a basic salary,
Yeah.
knowing that they can attain that basic salary and live this standard of living,
Yeah.
and for half a year, and the other half of the year they're out chilling in an island
100%.
in Asia,
100%.
doing charity work, and that gets them going. And the partner they now find loves doing that same thing.
Yeah. 100%. And you know what? That may be for a period of 3 years, and priorities might change.
Yeah.
What someone might feel is what they want to do to earn a basic salary and then live on an island for 3 years.
Yeah.
May change where suddenly I want to focus on becoming a millionaire for the next 5 years, and then maybe chilling for 2 weeks on an island. And it's okay for us to continue evolving.
Of course.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Even in extreme scenarios, like say for instance you're with someone and touch wood, your partner gets ill, terminally ill, where right now the priorities completely changed. That lifestyle of possibly going around doing all this charitable stuff may have to take a back seat right now, because we need to find ways
100%.
to generate income right now so that we can get these cures in place. And like, life changes. Don't just see it as you're not allowed to move things around. It's your journey. And I would rather you be in a position today thinking to yourself, shit, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm on the path of trying to get there, versus
100%.
like doing something purely for the sake of it.
100%. Enjoy. I know this is cliche, but enjoy the journey. We're so focused on the end point so that I forget that the grass is green where I walk. Let me just enjoy the fact that I'm waking up and I have a routine that may not be exactly what I want, but there are certainly elements of my day which I can be grateful for.
Yeah.
And if I'm working towards something and I haven't got there yet, just know that you walking towards it will be so exciting when you realize that you got to the destination. And when you got to the destination, looking back and being like, damn, look at what I've been able to do. Because once you get to this destination, there will be something else that lowers that door to say, let's continue on a path for another adventure.
Exactly.
And the journey should really be seen as an adventure, not me waiting till I reach my grave to say, I wish I was more present when I was in the journey.
Exactly.
And then when I'm knocking on heaven's door, being like, looking back, being like, wow, look at my life. I did not realize what I had in front of me.
100%. And like the good thing about your journey is that you're always, and this is why I tell my clients consistently, bloody reflect on what's going on in your life on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis, because
of course, because you're a life coach,
you can always learn from what's happened and what not to do when you get put into similar scenarios.
Totally.
And like, I won't lie and say 2023, for example, was the best of years for myself, and I can speak for a number of people who have gone through certain things in their last year. But at the same time, what I've learned from last year has taught me what I kind of want to make sure I don't do this year.
Sure.
And it's like, well, again, if I continue 2023 into 2024 the way it was already lined up, that door's coming, and all I'm doing is walking into it and walking back. I'm not allowing that door to go down and try this new journey out, which could benefit me and be the best thing I've ever done.
Absolutely.
It's a nice little.
I like it. I'm feeling. I resonate because what we're saying is very much in synergy.
Oh,
with one
100%. It's weird. I didn't expect it to go like to synchronize this well. All right. So we've talked a bit about Cyecyl and how your career and now your consultancy practice, and it's purely based in it's based in Gibraltar, but you have
we have clients everywhere.
Fair.
So Gibraltar, UK, Europe. We're branching out into the Middle East as well.
Just out of curiosity, do you hire people from the UK?
Yeah, we actually do. Actually do.
So if anyone's listening and they want to try,
hit me up.
I'm getting good energy from Navin. So, but there was men's mental health was a big topic I wanted to try and discuss with you, and I feel like as we've just been speaking so far, this is gonna be very impactful. I've taken this quote from your Insta page. I know you haven't got majority on there, but
pretty quiet.
Yeah, you mentioned.
Maybe I need your advice on that.
I don't think you need my advice on that at all. I think you know what you stand for, so
yeah, for sure. Thank you.
You don't need to put that out there. But this resonated with me. As men, we struggle to talk about our mental health. it's equally important for us all to feel safe in an environment where we can share our vulnerabilities without feeling marginalized or labeled as weak. That quote hit because when I read it, I felt like in our society, men are possibly taking steps forward now to talk about their
For
mental
sure.
health,
For sure.
but it is still seen as a place where it's a major struggle.
Yeah. You are not weak if you showcase emotion to me right now. If you decide to cry on that chair talking to me, it will showcase a sign of strength that you're actually emotionally aware to recognize that you are human. Because you're in a male body doesn't necessarily mean that you need to mask it any more than someone who's in a female body. Everyone experiences human emotions. Someone who feels like you don't give yourself permission to be able to express it because of being a man just means that you need someone to give you a hug and say, it's going to be okay. Your masculinity is not removed. In fact, what's associated with toxic masculinity of repressing your true emotions and expressing that through anger, through violence, and through anything which may be deemed as aggressive. If that is what masculinity is, then please don't call me masculine. If showcasing emotional vulnerability, showcasing your honesty, and actually being able to share with a community of men what it is that you're experiencing and going through, and that being masculine, then call me a man. I feel like in today's day and age, we're definitely encouraging it more and more. However, what I would love to do as a psychotherapist and a coach is to say, you are safe, you are good, you are enough as you are, and may you truly express that which you are. And if you need this moment to be vulnerable, express it so that when you're going out and facing the world, you've dealt with what's going on and your strength as a man is even more. Because if you are using energies of anger, resentment, frustration, violence, they're all depleting the soul and weakening the spirit. Is that manly or masculine? Hell no. If I'm resolving any inner conflicts or traumas that I'm struggling with and I need to cry and resolve it through therapy or through some kind of support with a friend or family member, then I can show up with the world with the strength that I need to face day-to-day challenges. This is what we all need. And as men, we need to encourage this more because we're falling behind the notion that we mustn't express our emotions or our feelings because it's weak. That is BS. It's real BS. And this is why I want to hold space for anyone who feels like they don't have permission to do it to say, you know what? I'm going to look you in the eye and say, it's absolutely okay.
I love that. I love that a lot. And I reflect on a lot of my guy friends who possibly aren't talking about things that are going on behind the scenes. And I can hear it from one angle. I have a lot of friends who just shrug it off or pretend like they're not affected by certain scenarios and certain things. And it's like, guys, it's okay. I remember I've said it so many times on here. People used to take the piss out of me for being emotional. And it's like, why are you so emotional? It used to be a funny little joke, right? And it was like, when I deeped it, obviously limiting beliefs, lack of self-worth, all of that cropped up, and
Yeah, because then you question yourself.
well, my coaches like helped me discover that and helped me see what was possible if I removed this belief that was so ingrained within me. But going back to like say what men generally go through, I love how you've said it. How do we encourage more people to be able to take that stance and open up about the stuff they go through? Because I think from a guy's perspective, the men right now who aren't opening up feel like they can't. They feel like their fellow male friends are going to judge them, laugh at them. And then it's even worse when you have women who possibly make them feel like they can't open up either.
100%.
It creates a very, very difficult place for, I would say, the average man right now to possibly to talk about stuff they're going through based on that judgment. How do we encourage it from your perspective?
That's $1 million question. I think simply talking about it and normalizing it between men is a really good start. Secondly, I think for the people in our lives to totally recognize when you need help. And B, also making sure that you have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
I think we've made it very common to suppress our emotions as men and not feel comfortable to be able to express that which is going on in our hearts. And that leads to real negative consequences when it comes to physical health, when it comes to our attitude towards the people and the friends and the family around us, and also how it impacts the quality of work. I think if you are seeing that someone is not okay, just check in and simply ask, hey, how are you? Is a really easy question to ask any human being. And I think for men, a major thing that we need to encourage more for one another is to say it's okay to talk. And it's not like when you're in a group of lads and everyone, when you're with your boys,
Yeah.
and everyone just super hypes up to be with each other and you're all having a great time. That's incredible. But I guarantee you, every one of those boys is going through something behind closed doors, which they haven't been able to disclose to you. So if they can't do it in a group setting, meet them for a coffee on a one-to-one, because that's where people will also be more comfortable to open up, if not in a group setting.
I love that, because I realized towards the back end of last year that some of these conversations started arising within my friendship groups, and you could see the difference it made by possibly just holding that space. I do feel by just asking someone, albeit it's so simple, how are you, is one thing, because
If you don't have the capacity to listen to the
Yeah.
response, don't say, how are you? Say, good to see you,
Yeah.
especially when it's in fleeting moments.
Yeah.
Because asking someone, how are you, and expecting them to say, I am fine,
Yeah.
is not fair.
Yeah.
And I feel like that language, and I've gone off on a tangent a bit, but is really important. So if I genuinely want to make time to ask how someone is,
Yeah.
then ask, how are you?
Yeah.
If I don't, it is good to see you.
Yeah.
Because that is a very loaded question,
Yeah.
how are you?
No, it is, and like normally the common answer we get is, "Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm blessed. I'm fine." And it's like,
Yeah.
"Are you?"
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
One of my boys was I noticed we were messaging on Instagram, and I was scrolling down a couple of my DMs, and it came up as Instagram user. So I feel like he's probably taking his Instagram down now. I was taking a break. Didn't know any of this, so I messaged him privately, and I says, "Yo, bro, just checking in. Everything okay? I saw you It was like explained his reasonings to why. Totally fine." But he was like, "No, I appreciate that. No, 100%. No, it's all good. Everything's all blessed over here. How's things on your end, etc." And I know when at the end of the new
You
year,
checked in.
yeah, I checked in. At the end of the new year, I did the end of the new year, end of last year. I did the same thing where I said, "Look, December's been a bit eerie, I suppose, and I haven't posted a podcast or posted any content in a number of weeks right now. I'll be coming back in the new year stronger. Just need to take some time out." And a number of people that just messaged to say, "Everything okay, bro? Like, are you sure? Like, do you want to chat about anything?" Random strangers that I've possibly spoken to once or twice to. Very, very nice, comforting feeling for that to now be something that people offer that space for me to to use. So I thoroughly appreciate that, but I still feel like if I can think of a number of people right now in my friendship groups who generally won't come out and say, "Yeah, man,
Struggling.
I'm a bit heartbroken still," or honestly, the pressures are getting to me, and it's that male requirement that I need to be doing X, Y, and Z right in life right now, and it's like, bro, you don't need to prove anything. Man. It's good.
Yeah.
But what I would love to know, if there's no right or wrong answer, but how you could encourage someone who generally feels right now that they're the dog's bollocks, and they're just going to keep going and going and going and going and parking all of this shit aside, but really and truly they are feeling a certain kind of way in life.
We can't force anyone to speak about something that they're not ready to discuss. And for those people who think that they're all good, but you recognize that they're not, there's only so much prodding you can do.
Yeah.
And I think for those individuals, my feeling is that if it comes to a breaking point, they will have no choice but to seek help. God forbid it comes to that breaking point. But if you identify, and whichever individual, like whoever's looking at this, if you're a male and you see another male friend struggling, even if they say they're all good and you're in a group setting, make one-to-one time for them. And it doesn't need to explicitly be like, talk to me about your problems, but just check in and say, how are things going? And with that will come a whole array of what's going on at work, what's going on at families, what's going on with friendships.
Yeah.
So I think a really important thing is not to force someone who's struggling, because I think that is where, with men, if we are not able to articulate it because we're not comfortable, hold space and just call them out on a one-to-one. And I know that it's probably not the most exciting answer, but it's the truth, because I've had friends who've decided to take their own lives away as a result of not being able to deal with the struggles that they've been going through, and may never ever get to that point for men, which is why just us talking about it right now is an active message to say, if you are struggling, please, please, please talk to someone. Even if you just need a friend to hear you out and you need a listening ear, reach out to someone you can trust. First and foremost, trust is really important.
Do you know what I find quite mad about, like, what I feel quite mad about what we've discussed right now, and it's I say mad, it's like quite empowering.
Yeah.
The fact that if we're going through something serious, i.e., for instance, right now, I'm heartbroken, as an example. I'm moping around trying to prod on, etc., etc. And like friends are possibly like mocking it or whatever. It's just lad banter. You're just cracking on. You're going on about your life, but deep down, I'm crushed inside. The minute I show that level of a true raw emotion, I guarantee my friends in that circle will be like, fuck,
100%.
shit, man, yo. A message will come the next day after, checking in. Is everything all right? You sure you're good? Do you want to meet up for dinner or something like that? Or it would be like you'd get that brotherly, warm kind of love just turn up.
100%.
But it's, what baffles me is the fact that, like, you might not see that right now in the situation you're in, hence why you're not going to talk about it. But the minute you do, I guarantee you see a completely different response altogether.
100%.
When I, like, it used to be quite funny when I used to say, like, I've got coaching, or my coaches helped me with X, Y, and Z, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, why'd you need that? Why'd you need that? And only after a period of time right now are my friends now possibly acknowledging what I do and the space I hold. And when we are out in these settings, may understand my perspective on things and why I might be a bit more looking at it from a different perspective and be like, yo, nah, fair play. And they're a bit more respectful. And when they're going through stuff right now, alcohol usually plays a part where they can open up a bit more, but they can deep it a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you can now hold that space for them, it's like, I can see you're hurt.
100%.
Bro,
You know, that's absolutely it. And I think meaningful friendships go beyond just the laughing and the banter and the fun.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place for good times, and we all thrive off it. But if my friendships are purely based on banter, then I know that that's not really a significantly meaningful friendship.
Yeah.
Because we're only there for our good times. We're not really checking in on each other for the struggles. So what I would say to that, or respond to that, is saying, by all means, have your fun. But if you're not checking in on your bros, then that's not really a real friendship. So if you, and again, I'm going to reiterate it, if you see that one of your mates is genuinely not in a good place, then ask them, and ask for a one-to-one. But also make time for your bros. Oh, sorry.
You're good, bro.
We're going to charge you for this shit. Yeah. When it comes to... I'm having a fit right now. What I would say when it comes to making time for our bros and our mates is really just the one-to-one time. It's invaluable. It's crucial. Even if they're okay, one-to-one time with your mates is incredible.
Yeah.
And then if you all have a relationship and a circle of trust, talking about these things will definitely be good. But as a start, just make time on a one-to-one level. I think as mates, men tend to do that less because we don't like to go deep too soon, too quick.
Yeah.
It's very easy and safe to stay surface level. But how many people would you say truly know you as you are, however you are, in whatever way you decide to show up? Do you feel like, if you can count, how many people would you say know the core of who you truly are as an individual?
I'd say like quite a few people. I wouldn't
Okay.
say a lot of people, but quite a few people, because I'm not scared to get deep with stuff. And
that is inspiring.
yeah,
The fact that you said quite a few people, you are an example for many men
yeah,
who can actually say, if Pri is showing up as he is and is quote unquote emotional, it's not emotional. What it is authentic
yeah,
and real and sincere. You are the example for the people around you
yeah.
to also do the same thing.
In like,
So I love that you've actually said quite a
no,
few.
100% no, and like even like just flipping it, like even if it comes across as I'm upset right now in the moment, right? Me explaining that, if someone hears it and like, as a friend right now, I can't help you, but you know what? My mum is a therapist, bro. If you need me to like sort up a call or anything, I've got you covered. Don't you
100%.
worry about that. Like, I can't hold that space, because that's another thing, right? There's sometimes where
100%.
like I might not generally be the best person in that moment in time to listen to the bullshit that's going on in
Yeah.
your life right now. And that's not to sound rude, but in my head, I'm still going through
Yeah.
stuff. So it's unfair for me to hold space to you. I can't people please in this moment in time. I've got to put myself first and
Ooh,
work for my
very
stuff.
good. Yeah,
But at the
really
same
good.
time, what I can do
Yeah.
is ask you to reach out to this person who I know might be
100%.
more better suited for you. And like, so when I put up that message in December to say I'm going through something, well, I'm going through something, I'm just feeling a bit numb, etc. It was like people volunteered to help.
Yeah.
Didn't know some of the people. Talking about people like I've only met through an Instagram message or a Zoom call. Is everything okay? Just want to check in. Friends that I haven't seen in uni in a long time, message, and it's like, it's so nice just showing that feeling, because I feel like it's braver elaborating how you're feeling, because it could allow assistance and help to then come towards you, and it could help you generally moving forward. If I'm going through something right now and I mention something and someone was like to me, yo, Pri, yo, my mum's a therapist, like, we need to hook you up. Bro, I didn't even think about therapy,
Yeah.
but let me see if I can have a call.
100%.
She's changed the game for me. But if it wasn't for you, it never would have happened. So big thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And you've got to be totally okay with not being able to provide someone with what they need.
Oh, cool.
And recognize that within you. So I love that you've just shared that. I've actually provided psychotherapy, counseling, and coaching to CEOs, male CEOs, as well as female CEOs, but we're talking about men specifically here. Some of the most influential men that I've worked with have been on the brink of tears in those therapy sessions.
Yeah.
But when they show up in the world, they've done everything they need to do to be able to showcase the person that they truly are to their professional setting, because there's a time and a place for everything. If I'm breaking down in the middle of a meeting, there's something fundamentally wrong. But if I'm breaking down in therapy, it means I'm holding space in the right setting at the right time to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So before it gets too late and I'm not able to recognize what it is that I need, talk to someone. And this is why I became a therapist. There's not half as enough male therapists as there are female therapists. And a big reason why I did it was to, again, just continually encourage that voice of making sure that for men, it's okay to talk.
It's a powerful line. It's it's weird because I get a lot more. I would say my clientele is more women driven, and I know I've got a lot of men who possibly could benefit from some of these conversations. It's a narrative that definitely needs to change, but it also comes from the want.
Even within Asian men.
Yeah.
This is not like, okay, men, first of all, but Asian men, I would say even less so. You know, our parents didn't have the time to think about what they were going through or what they were feeling and what they were experiencing. They'd be like mental health, whatever. They just had to provide for their families and put food on their plate. They had no time to actually assess what's going on.
Yeah.
But till today, the older generation are holding on to a lot of traumas that they haven't been able to let go and are resentful for. So this is where throughout all the generations, it's important to feel like it's never too late to talk. And for our age, what I'm saying is that if there is the capacity to resolve some inner conflicts that you're struggling with, you are not weak because you need to talk to someone about it.
For sure. And I feel like people are afraid to acknowledge the benefits that will arise
Mm.
from getting something off your chest.
100%.
I can't stress how helpful it's been for me personally.
Yeah.
I don't want to say my dating game, but the
You're a
approach
charmer.
to dating.
You're a charmer, Pre.
I'm not a charmer. I've got a charm, but it's more of a like I'm so understanding of who I am and what I'm looking for. By all means, like if it's not there, I will cut ties respectfully, and at the same time, like I will look at it from so many different angles to why you possibly are behaving in a certain manner, why you feel like you need to impress, etc. All of that stuff, and it's nuts. Me being able to understand me truly, and obviously going through coaching has helped me become a better person internally myself. I take that into so many different fields right now. It's a massive game changer.
100%.
I'm just thinking of all of like friends of friends and people guys in particular who put on the standard lad behavior, and it's like, bro,
I see you. Don't take the mask off. I see you, bro.
get unfiltered, man. It's fine, man.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool. And this is why I continue to try and portray and showcase myself on this podcast and generally in life in this light that it's fine. There's nothing wrong with you feeling a certain kind of way. If something isn't working in your relationship right now, cool. There are people that can help. If there's something not working for you in your career right now, if you're feeling all of this pressure right now to be the man of the house, because that's another thing we haven't gone into today, but that's really eating up at you, and you just need to navigate your way out of this or find some inner belief, speak to someone. It's just things that we don't do.
Talk. That's what we got to do.
Bro, this has been a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
It's actually a shame you're not here for longer, because I definitely would have. I've been captivated by this conversation, like your hand signals and everything. Like generally, I'm just like
the gestures. I appreciate that, bro, and I think you're very good at being able to hold space for people to be able to feel safe and comfortable. I know. Also, my meditative and spiritual practice. I know we haven't gone into it.
We didn't go into your monk life or anything.
Not at all, but that's totally okay. I think maybe that's for another time. I think all of that, I'll say a snippet of it because it's probably a core part of who I am.
Yeah.
And it shapes the individual that I am today. But when I chose to live kind of, you could call it a modern day monk lifestyle. I don't want to use that term because it's a bit cliche. And I still have friends who are following the spiritual path, so it almost be a little bit disrespectful to just label it as like modern day monk, just because it's catchy and good for marketing. But whilst living a celibate lifestyle and dedicating my life to that of service, along with the peers in my community, that in and of itself taught us all what it means to be self-aware, tap into what's in my heart, identify what I'm struggling with, and then find ways to resolve it if I can resolve it. The key thing that came with that was awareness of self, and for me, the awareness of the divine. This is what has enabled me to actually have a sense of spiritual strength to then today say that because I have also struggled, I'm able to hold space for other people who are struggling too. It's not because you're in a position of influence or that you're a therapist that you don't go through your own challenges. You just have the right people in order to support you to go through that which you're going through. So irrespective of who you are as a person, out of the 7-8 billion people that are in the planet, 99.999% are going through something. And if you are, please speak to someone, because there will always be a listening ear. And if it's not someone in your immediate support network, there will be therapists. There'll be pro bono therapists if you can't afford it. There'll be people who'll be willing to be a listening ear. You've just got to find someone who you can trust.
Yeah.
And that's what counts.
Take that first step.
Take that first step.
And then, because like a lot of, just to wrap this up, people have had therapy and said it's been shit, it's not worked for them, etc. And that's fine. Doesn't mean you give up though. Look at what worked, or if nothing worked, explain what doesn't work, and see what it is you're really looking for, because what your therapist probably never identified at the time was it wasn't really requiring therapy. You required a coach to help you push forward.
100%. And there's a difference between therapy and coaching. Therapy is when we're looking to resolve inner conflicts or traumas that are that we're struggling to deal with on the day-to-day and are actually impacting our quality of life. And coaching is where we want to achieve something that we haven't yet recognized the steps to get there.
100%.
So I think it's just knowing the difference.
Yeah.
And then even in a lot of my work, we actually combine the two. When we've actually been able to resolve stuff, as a result of resolving, then we're able to start taking actionable steps to getting to where we want to be. And I think that is also a stark difference to recognize.
That's I think, because some people
time.
always say to me like, Pri, are you sure you're not a therapist? And I'm like, I'm not qualified as a therapist.
But you hold space.
But the style I bring to the table is, all right, okay, cool. You want to go from here to here? Fine. We can write down a plan of action, etc., and I'll hold you accountable.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, if I get you there and you're still feeling the exact same way as you are right now, then I've not helped you at all. I want you to get rid of all of the thing and all the things, the baggage and everything that's holding you back right now. So regardless to whether you get to that result, because in life you may never get to that result, things might come about. But if you're a different person, a more improved person,
100%,
that's more fulfilling for you long term. You won't see it right now, but it is. And it's been crazy to see some of the results that have happened on the back end of like sessions I've had with people, the empowerment they have within to now take on work in a different angle. The learnings they've now built up in regards to, I want to be financially successful and all of this palaver, great. But my relationship with my mum and dad right now is skyrocketed. And because of that, I don't really need to be that financially successful. I am succeeding, but that requirement is no longer there right now because the pressure's now been taken off, etc., etc. And
it's true, eh?
It's so interesting. It's so interesting.
There are lots of games and
that subconscious.
And and it's time that we hold the reins to our minds, our thoughts, and our feelings, because sometimes our mind, our thoughts, and our feelings feel like the monster, when actually they're little puppies that I can have on a leash, and I can determine how they dance together. But that is like spiritual martial arts, which takes a lot of time, and you see a lot of monks, you see a lot of people who lead that lifestyle, totally committed to it. We can take elements from there into the day-to-day world if we're living in a busy lifestyle to say, how can I take ownership of what's in my life? And that starts within.
Are you good for me to plug in your Instagram handle?
Yeah, of course.
And all of the other stuff so that people can just get in contact with you? This has been powerful. It's mad. I love having conversations like this. I'm not crying. I've just got an itchy eye, so don't get...
Say you're crying, man. Add a dramatic effect. He's crying, guys.
But no, generally, this has been...
Bless you. Thank you for holding the space for all of these voices to speak, because everyone that you've had on here is very different and has something unique that is going to connect to someone out there. And may you long continue doing it.
Bro, much appreciated. Thank you, bro. Thanks again for listening. It's been your boy, Uncle Pri. It's always a pleasure to be in the studio and record with my guests. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you like stuff like this, please do like, comment and subscribe. It helps me take the podcast to a place where I can definitely bring in more people that are going to resonate with you, whether it's their stories, whether it's their journey, whether it's just something that they're going through right now. So definitely like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And much appreciated you staying in here. I love everyone that comes through, and I love all the comments and feedback that I get, so keep that coming through. It's been your boy Uncle Pri, and I'm signing out. Peace.